I thought the divorce was the end of the nightmare. I was wrong. The papers were signed. The judge nodded. The marriage was officially over. I walked out of that courtroom thinking I had finally paid the price for my mistakes and could move on with my life. I had no idea that the real damage hadn't even started yet. What followed wasn't screaming fights or dramatic court battles. It was quieter than that, slower, more calculated. And by the time I understood what was happening, I was financially ruined. This is the story of how the woman I once loved didn't just leave me. She dismantled me. I met Laura when I was 29. She was magnetic. That's the only word I can use. Confident, warm, the kind of person who made you feel chosen when she looked at you. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. She laughed at my terrible joke. I bought her a drink. We talked until 3 a.m. She told me she admired ambitious men. I told her I was building a marketing firm. She said she loved that. Looking back, that detail matters more than I realized at the time. The first year felt perfect. She moved into my apartment after 8 months. I paid most of the bills. It made sense. I was earning more. She worked part-time in retail and said she was figuring things out. I didn't mind. I liked providing. I liked feeling needed. If there were red flags, they were small, subtle. She never offered to split expenses unless I brought it up. She'd get irritated when I questioned spending. She once said, half joking, "If we get married, I'm retiring early." I laughed. I shouldn't have. We got married 2 years later. The wedding was expensive, more expensive than I was comfortable with. But she wanted something memorable. "It's once in a lifetime," she said. I paid for most of it. After the wedding, things shifted. She quit her job. At first, she said it was temporary. She wanted to find her passion. Months passed. Then a year. I was working 10 to 12-hour days growing my company. She started spending more. Clothes, weekend trips with friends, online shopping, deliveries every other day. When I brought it up, she'd get quiet. Or worse, she'd cry. "Do you think I'm useless?" she'd ask. And just like that, I'd back down. Because I loved her. Because I thought marriage meant patience. Because I thought stress was normal. What I didn't understand was that the financial imbalance wasn't accidental. It was becoming structural. The arguments started in year 4. She said I worked too much. I said I had to. Our lifestyle wasn't cheap. She wanted a bigger house. I wanted stability. She started mentioning divorce during fights. Casually. Maybe I'd be happier alone. First, I panicked. Then I started noticing something. She only brought up divorce after I said no to something expensive. A new car, a vacation, renovations. It became a pattern. And I ignored it. She filed. Not me. One random Tuesday afternoon, I was served papers at my office. No warning. No discussion. Just signatures already prepared. I remember sitting in my car afterward, staring at the steering wheel. How did we go from arguments to this? The divorce process was amicable, at least on the surface. We had no kids, which I thought would simplify things. We agreed to sell the house, split the profits. I agreed to temporary spousal support for a year while she got back on her feet. Felt fair. I wanted peace. I wanted closure. What I didn't realize was that for her, this wasn't closure. It was phase 2. 3 weeks after everything was finalized, she called. Her voice was soft. "I hate asking this, but I'm struggling." She said her apartment deposit had drained her savings. She needed a short-term loan, just until she found a stable job. It wasn't a huge amount. I wired it. She thanked me, told me I was a good man. That felt nice. That was my first mistake. The requests became more frequent. Her car broke down. Medical bill. Unexpected tax issue. Each time it was urgent. Each time she sounded fragile. "If you don't help, I don't know what I'll do." I told myself it was temporary. After all, we had been married. Wasn't I supposed to care? Then the legal emails started. Her lawyer claimed she was struggling more than anticipated. They requested an extension on spousal support. I could fight it, but fighting meant court, fees, stress, public records. She texted me that night. I don't want this to get ugly. Neither did I. So I agreed. On social media, she painted a different story. Posts about surviving emotional neglect, about rebuilding after betrayal. People commented support. I didn't respond, but clients saw it. Friends asked questions. My silence made me look guilty. She never accused me directly. She didn't need to. The implication did the work. And slowly, my reputation started to feel fragile. About a year after the divorce, I checked my accounts and felt something shift in my stomach. Between legal fees, support payments, loans, and asset division, I had lost nearly 40% of my savings. 40%. I confronted her. This has to stop. She didn't yell. She didn't deny it. She said something colder. You're doing fine. Don't be dramatic. That was the first time I saw it clearly. She didn't need me. She needed access to me. When I refused the next request, her lawyer contacted mine. They were reviewing previous financial disclosures, suggesting potential discrepancies. It was vague, strategic, a threat without specifics. Fighting it would cost money. Settling it would cost money. Either way, I paid. And she knew it. The breaking point came when I had to let go of 2 employees. Cash flow was tight. Stress was constant. Couldn't sleep. One night, sitting alone in my apartment, I opened my banking app and felt something collapse inside me. I had built everything from nothing, and I was bleeding it out to avoid conflict. That night, I stopped being afraid of ugly. I told her no. No more loans. No more extensions. No more informal help. If it wasn't court-ordered, it wasn't happening. She called me selfish, cold, vindictive. I didn't argue. I simply repeated, no. The legal threats came again. This time, I hired a stronger attorney. We reviewed everything. There were no discrepancies, no hidden income, just intimidation. Once she realized I wouldn't fold, the pressure slowed, then stopped. Financially, I recovered slowly. Emotionally, it took longer. What hurt wasn't the money. It was the realization that I had confused kindness with obligation, that I had allowed guilt to override boundaries, that I had been afraid to look like the bad guy, and that fear cost me more than any settlement. Divorce doesn't end dynamics. It exposes them. If someone relied on emotional leverage during marriage, they might use legal leverage after it. Boundaries aren't cruelty. Documentation matters. Silence isn't always noble. And peace bought with money isn't peace. It's rent. I don't hate her. Hate is expensive. I don't even regret loving her. But I regret not protecting myself. If you're going through divorce right now, be fair. Be calm. But don't be naive. Because sometimes the end of a marriage isn't the end of the story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of the negotiation. And the most important contract you'll ever defend is the one with yourself.